Hello and good morning. Let's see here. I'm Hannah, for those of you following along, technical community manager at Postman, hosting this week's stream, Extreme Makeover Collections Edition. And this is the wonderful Carson Hunter of MTNA here to actually help us do that makeover. How's it going, Hunter or Carson?
Good. I'm excited to be Ty Pennington for the day.
Yeah, I was starting to look up some of his common catchphrases and quotes, and like you said, didn't really get that much farther than "move that bus." So, do you have any fun catchphrases of your own that we should introduce here?
No fun catchphrases, but what I do remember of the show is like they'll interview the kids and be like, "Oh, little Timmy, what do you like?" And he'll say basketball, and so you're getting an entire basketball themed new life. So
Okay, I'm gonna think about this pretty hard then.
yeah,
I'm gonna
they're
think for
funny.
like fresh air, safety, good vibes. All right, let's try to call that in here with this makeover.
All right, we'll do our best. These early
Great.
days.
Excellent. I believe we normally start these with an in case you missed it. And so I am very excited to start with telling you all about the 30 days of Postman coding challenges that our very own Joyce Lynn made. So this blog post kind of walks through a little bit like that, but Joyce has put together these challenges that take about 5 to 45 minutes to go through. They'll show you everything on, mock servicing, GraphQL, all of the foundations that you need to really understand Postman. I haven't started it yet. That is on my agenda. Carson, you said that you tried it. What did you think so far?
I looked through it, and there's so much good content on here. I want to try the GraphQL. There are a couple tutorials that I know I'll learn some stuff from, so I'm excited to do a few lessons.
Yeah, me too. I'm also excited to get this badge. It's kind of silly, but I've suddenly gotten really into badges and understanding how motivating they are in the last couple of months. So, that's going to be a good one to get.
Yeah, getting this one's a big accomplishment. There's a lot here.
Yeah, that's a lot of homework. I mean, that's a lot of studying for a month. Yeah, absolutely. The other wonderful thing that I wanted to share with you all is about the Postman Supernovas program. Carson, you are a Postman Supernova. What is that like?
It's been great so far. We've been able to communicate with other super users, supernovas, kind of like seeing what they're working on, the presentations they're giving. It's been really encouraging, and to get some support for doing our own presentations. I feel like I've been able to really level up experience.
Great. I'm so glad you're saying that. I hope by the end of this hour you will still think it is a great experience. For everyone at home, Postman Supernovas are our brightest community leaders here at Postman. Folks like Carson, Valentine Despa, we have Oris Danilowitz and Priscilla. And these wonderful folks like Carson end up speaking at conferences, hosting meetups. They're victims on our live stream like this right now. Um, that really step up as leaders in the Postman community to host events and share all of their hard-earned knowledge and education. So in this particular instance, Carson has a bunch of skill sets that I'm really impressed by. And so I'm excited for that education to get passed back on to me. Yeah. Carson, do you want to say a little bit about your background and how data in particular for this stream is going to be relevant and why that's your specialty?
Sure. So I work at Metadata Technology North America. We're a small team based in Tennessee, and we do a lot of work around, kind of like curating data. We have our platform called Rich Data Services, where we take, different data sources. We did some work around coronavirus data, election data. And what I do is sometimes I'll like find places to pull it in, figure out how we can kind of clean it up, pull it in daily, document it with metadata, make it better quality, and then put an API in front of it and figure out how to query it, make visualizations with it. And so even though this data that we're working with today, I'm not an expert in quality data. I don't know that much about how it's sampled, the science behind it. We can apply some of the same principles that I've been dealing with, like making sure we're making the right graphs, making sure we're really reading the documentation to get as much information as we can.
Awesome. Yeah. Perfect. Yeah. I mean, this is really fantastic background, and thank you for helping upgrade, improve this collection. So, as Carson said, normally if you like basketballs, you say you like basketballs, all of a sudden you're living in a basketball court. So I really like clean air to breathe. I'm going to call that in, and we're going to take a look at the EPA's Air Quality System API. So air quality is something that is particularly sensitive to many of us in California with the wildfires, or other areas around the world with, also fires or pollution, smog, that sort of thing. And we track it in the Air Quality Index that has this really fun chart. If you're in California, sometimes you can say, oh, yeah, I'm in purple air today. Like, oh, yep, it's orange. All right, got to be a little bit more careful on how much time I'm spending outside. So this has been a kind of emotional measure almost for me specifically, and trying to make some decisions on how I can structure events and things coming up for my summer and fall if we're looking at historical air quality data. So this Air Quality System API, it's from the EPA. That's the Environmental Protection Agency from the United States. So this is from the government themselves. And it takes a look at all the different sensors that is placed around the country and the data that they bring in on a kind of daily basis. And so my goal when looking at this was actually to choose a date for my wedding. I'm getting married next year, and California, it's kind of a risk to set any sort of event or hard date that's outside during that time period, but I'm very determined to do so anyway. So I decided to figure out how much data I could get specifically about air qualities in a certain county in California, Mendocino. And so I'm going to show you that collection. And then I'm also going to show you what I, very shamefully, what I was able to do with that data on my own, and why I'm so grateful for your help here. Yeah. Oh, okay. I completely ignored the chat. I'm sorry about that. So first off, hello, John's work alias. I've seen you around a little bit, and I really like to be friends. So if you want to find me on the forum, yeah, I'm the one with the Hannah in the name. Kevin Swiber says badge collecting is a legitimate hobby. I don't disagree.
Seconded.
Yep. Hello, team on the other side. Hi, Joyce. This is the link here to the Supernovas program. Thank you. As well as the first 30 days of Postman. And Carolyn here, one of our wonderful folks here at Postman, is a cyclist and feels your pain. I'm so sorry you feel that pain, but hopefully we can help you with this too. So, what I've done over here is, this documentation honestly was kind of confusing to me. Can I zoom in, please? Yes. Is that better? Let me know. This documentation was kind of confusing to me. Wasn't entirely sure what all this information was to begin with. I'm not an environmental scientist. I don't know a ton other than like what number feels scary to me in my breathing for the AQI. But it did list out kind of all the variables used, gave us some examples on like how to actually set up your account, beginning and end date if we're looking historically. The AQS parameter code. So that one was still like super confusing to me that I haven't entirely figured out, but it looks like this 81101 code is the one that looks at like the actual air quality measure in the way that we colloquially know how to describe it, with the states, counties, sites. But when it went into these like service details and examples, some of this didn't make a lot of sense to me. And so I completely honestly just like did what I can on trying to gather examples here on lists and states and phrasing and context and variables. And so using that, I looked into the parameter classes. Turns out not a lot of this actually made sense to me, and so I ignored it. List of states FIPS codes. So states are assigned a number alphabetically. California is where I am and where I'm considering things. So that's what I've focused on here. County codes as well. Let's see here. We can see from like Alameda County, Alpine, etc. I was going down to Mendocino County, which is number 45, and save that as such. Can then show us, oh, sorry.
Can you zoom in your Postman window a little bit?
Yes. How about
Perfect.
that? Is that good?
That looks good to me.
Okay. So this gave the site codes. So for Mendocino County, there's Fort Bragg. That's all the way far to the coast. Ukiah is a bit midland, inland. And so I was able to look at all of those site codes. And this is where I'm slightly embarrassed, but you know what? Oops. I'm going to take it anyway. I was able to pull the AQI in Mendocino County by date, looking specifically at like Willits, for example, is the closest area to Laytonville, the town of Mendocino, where I'll be getting married. And I rather shamefully went through and grabbed the information I could about AQI right here, and I dropped that into a spreadsheet rather manually to try to compare and create some charts to get an idea on like, is there a general trend on would August or October be better? So now that I've revealed that to you, what are your thoughts, Carson?
I think this is, a great way to get started. When you first come to like any API documentation, it is really overwhelming. And this one is no less overwhelming than any of the other ones I've seen. There's a lot of information. Yeah. There's a lot of different services, and you have to, make multiple calls to get the information that's needed for other API calls. So actually using your collection was a great way for me to kind of figure out, okay, what's going on? What are all these things that I needed? So it's kind of a little subset of all the calls, but you put them all together in this final one to kind of see and get all the information you needed. And putting it in a Excel spreadsheet isn't the worst way to analyze things at all. You made graphs, and that's one way to get the information you need. But I think we can do some more in Postman if we want to kind of and just see what we can finagle out of this.
Absolutely. All right, Ty. So where do you think we should start?
Well, we were poking around on the docs, and we did see that they had an open API specification. So hopefully that's pretty thorough, and we can go through the steps of importing that and just see where that gets us.
All right. So if I click this link, it gets us this charming JSON file. I have actually never done the create an API button side of things in Postman before, and so this is really exciting. So APIs, create an API. Mm-hmm. So we're going to call this air quality index historical. Do you have any advice on version, considering this is something I'm just pulling in from the web?
I would go ahead and name it 1.0.0. There might be a version on the API, but since we're not really the ones maintaining it, it's not really up to us, I guess, to version that. But we can go ahead and version our own if we kind of make our own changes to it. So
great. Okay. So this is OpenAPI 2.0, JSON, and create API. Oh. Okay.
Perfect.
this is intimidating.
All right. I think this is just giving us some instructions on what to do next. So you can click close.
Okay.
And then when we go over to define, the tab at the top.
Tab at the top.
Beside the overview one.
Yes.
Yep. So I'll go there and then select everything that's in there and then delete that and paste in yours. Perfect. And then you can save it.
Okay.
And then if you go over to develop, I believe,
Sure.
we should be able to create a documentation collection. So if we go to documentation, add documentation.
Okay. Create new or add existing?
I think create new. That's what I do. I'm not sure.
Great.
Okay.
And we're going to name this. So you do a lot on documentation to the point where you're going to be speaking at API at the docs, right?
Yeah.
So what are your thoughts? Are there any best practices for starting this?
Yeah. So when we're working at MTNA, sometimes we're working from our open API specification. Sometimes we're creating a more custom one. So to keep it clear, I sometimes like to put in, blank docs created from open API or just something to specify, this was created from open API. If we're not making something completely custom. So we could name it, AQI from OpenAPI. And we can always go back and change it later if we come up with a better name.
Perfect. Okay, great. That's great. Any advanced settings?
If you want to click those, there are some options to, name your folders and your requests a little bit differently, but I think we'll just start off, see how it goes, and then, we'll just click it with the default options.
Okay, great. John's work alias chimed in, create or import?
So I'm guessing that's from when we pasted in the JSON code instead of importing it from a repository. So I guess we could have saved it to a file and imported it there, or if we already had it in a Bitbucket or GitHub repository, we could have imported it as well. Since we're kind of like on the fly, I think it's okay to just paste it in, but it might be better practice to kind of keep it in a repository so you can manage those changes a little better. You can, keep up to date a little easier. So if we were really going in and maintaining this, that might be the better option.
Great. Okay. Thanks for explaining that. And I am fine with keeping it simple. Yeah, as we were talking about earlier, I'm having a lot of fun overcomplicating everything in my head today. And so I practically want to write on my hand, just keep it simple, silly.
That'll be today's theme alongside
Yes.
quality.
Yeah, maybe we can matching tattoos across the forehead or something.
I like it. Yeah.
Okay, so does this mean that now my API is created, or where are we at?
So now we should have a new collection if you go to the collections.
Mm-hmm.
Now
look at that.
Brand new shiny collection.
Haha. Okay.
So now these are created, I think, from all the paths. I think we could have chosen to do it via the tags, but so they're kind of grouped based on the different API services. So there's a lot of different things here. And so, they have some sample data. They have ways you can get the daily data or annual data. But if we want to just poke around and see what comes up.
Okay, so what are the samples? Single state, single monitoring site. Okay, so that would be the one in Willits that I think is closest and most relevant to the actual venue.
Right.
Okay, so we can do daily, annual, density. Oof, okay. AQI, that feels most relevant.
That
Some
does
fun
seem like what we're going for.
lorem ipsum, though, for our value and description. Okay.
Yeah. Do we want to check out, see if there's any collection level documentation?
Yeah. So we're going to go over here.
What I noticed is that this might be kind of a draft because it seems like they have some to-dos sprinkled throughout. Mm-hmm. So if we wanted to, we could go through and document some things that we find. As I'm using an API for the first time, I like to jot down, what are some of the pain points that were easy to figure out, and kind of jot those down for the next person that comes along. I also have a couple resources I like to refer to if I'm going through and doing this from scratch, or if we were going to go through and kind of make this our own, make it more readable. I created a kind of sample collection that goes through, it's kind of a checklist for what to include in a new collection, and that's in our MTNA public workspace. And then Joyce also last year created this blog post that's like the good documentation checklist, and that's super thorough. If you ever want to go through and just see all the things that you could include to make your documentation really top tier.
Rad. Okay. Okay. Yeah, the pain points, writing that down, absolutely. I'm just seeing right here now, though, it's saying, please see the current API. Did you see that?
I saw that, and the link was broken when I tried it. So, maybe that was a note they put
Yes.
in
Okay.
for later, and they're still working on it, but a lot of the calls seem to work, so we'll just go with it because it's the only API document I could find.
Perfect. Kevin just dropped the link here for the good documentation checklist. Excellent. And Carson, if you have the link to your MTMA workspace, we can also drop that in the chat as well. Yeah. Okay. So what should we do next then?
Let's see. So if we go to one of these requests, one that we want to use to try and get some data, we'll notice that a lot of these are filled kind of with these Latin values for placeholders. So we'll need to replace those if we want to start using these requests.
Okay. So let's look at the air quality one. That sound good to you?
Sounds good to me.
Okay, for a single state, single county. Ooh, metropolitan area. Okay, let's go for county. Let's still look at Mendocino County here.
Sounds good.
So we need our email and key. Should we? Go ahead.
Oh, I was thinking we might want to create an environment since we'll have this collection and your original one, which we might want to add to as well, so they could share those variables.
Got it.
I want to go ahead and make some environment variables.
Yes. So new environment. Which stream? April. May, because we're in May. Where's the time gone?
Who knows?
Yes. Okay. So email. So I'm going to hide this screen for a second while I drop in that information so I don't share our secrets like probably already did earlier. So let's see here. Variable. Email. And key. Okay, so it's tradition to share your secrets, Hannah. Thank you. This does feel like a rite of passage, so I do appreciate that.
There's still time to share some secrets.
Oh yeah, oh yeah. A lot we could go off of here. Well, do you? I think I got it. We've talked about this for maybe some fun little kind of tutorials on level ups. And look how I just entirely did that thing and didn't actually hide my secrets. Woo! Okay. Really learning on this one. Okay, so I have the environment. We're at the Twitch stream May. I added the email and API key. Thank you for the encouragement, Joyce and John's work alias. Now that I've created this environment and we're going to look at the county level. So this one I can just do email. This one I can just do key. So parameter, The only one that I was able to find was like when it listed out those two examples. Ooh, getting ugly again. Did you find, when you were looking around, did you find anything on parameters that sounded interesting to you either?
So there is this under the list, I think, under the list folder, you can go to like return a list of classes parameters. And so these parameters are grouped by different classes. And I'll try and see if I can see what those are.
Okay.
But I think it's fine to they're just this very specific measure of whatever
Yeah.
they're measuring. And I think whichever one we go with, they'll be fine. Because I think most of them do have that AQI parameter in the response.
Oh,
So
okay.
we'll try it. A
Great.
couple that I've tried have worked. So
Okay. So should we just like grab one of these or what do you?
yeah, so the one I've been using to just kind of play around, let me find it.
Ooh. Daniel Brown says that they have no idea what's going on, but it's interesting. I am so glad you feel that way, Daniel Brown. I also have, well, I have some idea on what's going on.
We'll take
Little
it as a compliment.
TLDR. Yeah. We are working with the Air Quality Index API from the EPA. That's the Environmental Protection Agency of the United States. So we are taking a look at the historical air quality of certain regions of California.
So I've been using this 44201 parameter.
Okay.
So you can try that one.
Cool. I'm just gonna set new variable param. Probably not the best way to have done that, huh?
I think you have to paste the value and then create the variable from it.
I think you're right. And I think that's something that I do know,
I do it all
promise.
the time.
Yes. Okay, beginning date. So August 13th is the date that we wound up choosing. So I wouldn't mind taking a look at, say, let's like August 10th, starting in, I don't know, maybe 2018.
Yeah.
Pulling that out of my butt a little bit. 08, 10. And then end date, we'll do it the other side. So 2018, 08, 14. So the state FIP code I already know as California as 06. So I'm going to set that there as a variable. Set as new variable. State, scope, environment. And county I also know is 45 for Mendocino County. Scope, environment. Okay, set variable. Okay, so what happens if I press send? Oh.
Oh no. Let's see.
Well, I have 1.5 million of these curly braces around this. Do you think that has anything
You
to
could
do with
try
that?
it. Yeah.
Let's see here. Does that make a difference? Oh no.
Let's see. Oh.
Daniel Brown here says that they use Postman for REST APIs at work and are trying to learn more about what Postman can do. Sweaty smiley face. Here's my sweaty smiley face to match yours. Postman can do a lot. So glad that you're here. And if you have any ideas, please feel free to chime in.
So I see we're doing the by state API call. So let's try taking off the county parameter and checking the county and see if that helps. Oh no. No
So
matching
what?
services found.
I've got the date right. 2-letter code. Interesting. Well, so looking at this, base URL, AQI by state, email. If we're, part of me just wants to compare that to what like I did manage to make work.
Yeah.
So AQI in California by date?
Yeah, try that one.
Okay. So this is by the daily data.
Okay.
Kevin asks, are the key email and key variables red, meaning they're unresolved? I thought that they were orange. Am I struggling with the colors here too? What do you see, Carson?
Is that the one we tried to send that failed? Where is that one?
Oh, okay. There we go.
Okay, we hover over them. Okay, they're unresolved. Are they in our environment?
Oh my gosh. Woo! Sharing everything. I'm going to take this down for a sec. Okay. Yes, they are in our environment. They're set like that. So
sometimes if you click on them, that helps them resolve.
shoot.
If they're acting
Okay.
up.
Okay.
Oh, Kevin says the variables in the environment have curly braces. We need to remove.
Oh, okay.
Good catch.
Good catch. Thank you. I just really like the curly braces, and I just drop them in everywhere I can and see what happens.
Until it doesn't work.
Just add more. Save. Okay. So I think that I can safely bring this back on now. Okay. This is where we got. Let's try sending it again. Check spelling in case. Okay. What do you think we could do with the current collection that I have if this is just getting to be?
Yeah, so maybe we want to focus on your collection as kind of your personalized, like wedding planning, date planning, kind of sandbox.
Okay.
I created some visualizations if we want to try those out.
Yeah.
Or
absolutely. So you want to drop me some code in the private chat and walk me through that?
I will try my best.
Because as much as I love my Excel spreadsheet and the Google Sheets and the enthusiasm I had in that particular hour doing this, I'm really excited to see how else this can be more consumable.
Okay. So I've just dropped you. This is going to be a series of 2 requests, as well as some data that you'll put in the test tab. So.
Okay. This is a series of 2 requests. The base URL. So I'm going to put this in the tests. Should we start with county or county by date?
So we're going to add 2 new requests.
Oh, gotcha. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Just to make sure they work. They might be the same.
Got it. Okay. So this is here. Did I not even save the base URL? Okay. Great.
Did we not save the base URL? I wonder if that's why it wasn't working.
Well, so I was using this daily data by state.
Mm-hmm.
And this is daily data by county. So is this the data daily that we should use as our base URL?
No. I think the base URL just goes up to API, maybe. I'm not sure if the /API is in the other requests, but.
Okay, great. Hiding the secrets that I've already shown one more time to add this as a okay. Ta-da. We've got our new request. Okay. I would just like to say that when I'm struggling at work, Joyce likes to remind me that I'm building empathy for developers. So if any of you are watching this, I have so much empathy for you, and I'm really trying to have it for myself right now too, because this is every step of the way feels like learning. Yeah. Okay, there we go. We've got some success.
Perfect. And I sent
Oh,
you the
great.
tests code in Slack because it was a little too long.
Oh, in Slack. Okay, great. Well, Daniel Brown here says that they did not think of making the base URL a variable and that they've learned something new. So, boom, our work here is
Perfect.
done. Awesome. Yes, you did send it over Slack. Okay. So, ooh, yeah, this is a lot. We're going to go here. So this goes into tests there and just send it.
Yeah, save it and try and send it. And then
Save
that
and send
one is
it.
just saving some data for the next one. So you
Okay.
can name that first one like Mendocino County, August 2020 data or something. So we'll compare two counties, their air quality data for August 2020.
Great. Okay, got it. So I put that in. Am I supposed to see anything yet for Visualize?
So not yet. So add another request and call that one Sonoma August 2020.
Okay. Sonoma. And then
And I put the URL in the chat.
yes, you did. Okay.
Cool. And then we'll need the test data for that as well.
Correct. Thanks, Kevin. Kevin sent some encouraging messages. Appreciate that. Oh, I showed Daniel's again. There we go. We'll always take encouragement. What template? Okay, great. So now I'm in tests, and I've dropped this in. Can you explain to me a little bit about what all of this massive code is? Because Visualizer, I think I was telling you yesterday, is arguably like my favorite feature of Postman that I don't entirely understand yet. And I mean, this is totally up your alley. So what is this?
Yeah, so it's just a way to kind of show your data in a bunch of different ways. So I like to use AM charts because it's just kind of like a JavaScript charting library, but their documentation is like chef's kiss. It's so good. They have all these different code snippets and code pens, and you can make really any type of chart or map or graph that you could possibly think of. And so what I like to do is kind of go to the AM charts documentation and I saw on this AQI API, they had an example of kind of a line chart charting the AQI. So I tried to recreate that, knowing that that was like some valid data graphing that I could go off of since I wasn't very familiar. And then you can go through, and for this one, you have to go through and import your AM charts libraries in this top script. And then you go through and you build out your chart, different options for, defining the colors, the behavior, your different axes. So at the bottom, we'll want the dates. So it helps to format that. And then we'll want a y-axis with our different values. And you can kind of, format how those are displayed. And then,
Got it.
so we're defining those value axes. And then we go down and we define our two different series. So and the data we saved one array of Mendocino County, like JSON nodes in an array. And then we did the same thing for Sonoma County. And this just tells the graph how to display those, what color we want them. You can define how thick or thin the line is. And then when you hover over it, what does it say? How does that behave? And then we just go through. I did some work on the data to, make sure we're filtering out and just having the right measurements, because it returns, the 1 hour average and then like the 8 hour average starting every 1 hour. So I just chose one of those. We can go back and change it, but I figured it was best to kind of keep that consistent. And then the first time I ran it, there were lines going everywhere on the line graph. So I ordered them, chronologically to make sure that we were getting a coherent line graph. And then you just send your data to the Visualizer template, and it should hopefully work.
Send and
let's see. Moment of truth.
Visualize.
Oh no.
Ah,
Let's see. It's showing on mine if you want to switch over to my
it
screen
is?
share.
Yes, let's do
Yeah.
that. Okay.
Let's see if I can make this bigger.
So make Carson screen share, us in the bottom corner. There we go. And if you want to zoom, I'm assuming you'll have to zoom in too. I
Yeah, I
just did
zoomed in
like
a
3
little bit.
times.
So
Oh, there we go.
I defined Mendocino and Sonoma County in two different kind of series, and you can see we're measuring it in parts per million. I'm not very familiar with this data, but it said that's what it was returned as. And so we can kind of see over the course of August, in 2020, Mendocino County really spiked on August 24th. That seems to be kind of a hot spot for those dates, but your dates were like the 10th through the 14th that you were looking at?
Yeah, of August.
Yeah. So this is what it was in 2020. We could do maybe like another graph comparing like 2019 and 2018 or
Yeah.
something.
Yeah, let's do it.
Okay,
Okay.
cool. Let's see. We'll just copy this one, rename it to be 2019.
Is yours in a public workspace right now? Is it something that I could fork off and play with while you like guide me, or
This isn't public, but let me see if I can make it public.
let's see here. Daniel Brown says that they have no idea how to write those tests. Look great. Me neither. Carson, when you're learning this, like, where do you start?
So I started learning in the Postman forums. So if you go to the Postman forums, I think there's a little tag called Visualizer, and that's a great place to go. Or search in the Postman search bar. You can search Visualizer, and I think there's a collection that Postman put together that has a lot of different visualizer examples. You can kind of go through and just see. A lot of people use, like D3JS or other charting libraries, and you can find one that appeals to you, that looks like what you're trying to make. I know Orist has a lot that's kind of like manipulating, searching XML and stuff. And so I like to just go see what other people have done to try and learn the format, and then find a charting library that you like. I like AM charts because the documentation is amazing, and then just try to piece it together. And it's going to be a little bit iterative because it never works the first time, but just start simple and
That makes
build up
sense.
from
Yeah.
there. Yeah.
Um, yeah. Well, so why wouldn't it be working on mine?
Can you go to your environment and see if we've saved that first set of data?
Ah! I'm sorry. I am having technical difficulties up the wazoo over here. This is a very big learning experience for me. Thank you all. Okay, so what are we looking for again?
So in that first Mendocino County request, we went through and we got the data, but we saved it to an environment variable to pass to the next request. So I'm wondering if it saved correctly, maybe? Yeah.
Okay.
So I just
So
saw.
what were we supposed to be seeing here that first time?
So this visualizer, I don't think I finished that one. It was just kind of a test. So the Mendocino visualizer shouldn't really show anything.
Okay.
But if you go to the environment, I don't know if you can check that offline and see if there's a value called Mendo with some JSON data, and just make sure it's not saved as like object.
Okay, so it currently has just the brackets and nothing in the middle for current value, and that's just it.
Okay, that might be a problem. Uh,
Oh, great.
did
My
we?
mishap had Sean dancing. Thank you. Kevin also partied for that. Joyce is running Get Postman, saying that she's also intrigued by AM charts. High praises, very interestingly. And Kevin would like to know if there's an MTNA public workspace using the example for after the stream.
Yeah, so in the MTNA public workspace, our Rich Data Services COVID API, I believe, has some good examples of different AM charts and you can go, either go to the public documentation. I have some screenshots, or you can, fork the collection and play around with the charts yourself.
Rad. Okay. So if there's only that single bracket with nothing in it for current value, what is it supposed to be?
It's supposed to have, the data that was returned. So when you send the Mendocino API request, is there data coming back on that one? Did the success, if you go to pretty, let's see, if we scroll
Try
down.
to zoom in more. Can folks see? Oh, can I see? I can't see.
Oh no. Do
Okay.
you see the button on the bottom where you can do the pane on the side instead of right under it, the data pane? Yeah,
That one?
it might be easier. Yeah.
Oh my God. Okay. There we go. This alone has changed my life. So we've got success.
Cool. So we're getting data back. So we know that should be working. Can you go to the test tab? And let's see where we're saving it. If you scroll down to, okay, you're on.
Yeah, I'm so many buttons, so close.
So scroll down. We're setting PM environment set Mendo, and I'm JSON stringifying that 8-hour array. Sometimes I like to do a console log right before I save the environment variable, just to make sure that what I think I'm saving is the right thing.
Okay.
If you wanted to try typing a console log before PM environment set.
Yes. Like that?
Yeah, and then do Mendo parentheses instead of, after log, just do a parentheses.
Okay.
Backspace. And then Mendo, or I guess, sorry, do 8HR. I did not name my variables very well because I didn't think anyone would be seeing this. Okay. Let's see. I'm going to send it to you in the chat.
Okay. Well, that's always a fun lesson, learning things, saving variables in right ways, just in case you're suddenly on a live stream showing them.
You never know.
Well, yeah, you really never know. Okay, console.log 8-hour. Okay.
Okay. So maybe pull up the console on the bottom left and then clear it out and then send it and just see what we get. So that is indeed a blank array, which is not what we want.
Okay.
So let's see what went wrong here.
Okay.
I'm going to look at it on mine since it's a little bigger for me.
Sure. Anyone in the audience, does this strike you as, ooh, let's check this?
We'll take
it.
Like, obvious errors we're missing.
Yeah. Phone a friend. Anyone have some ideas? Okay. Sort nodes by date so we don't get lines crisscrossing all over. I appreciate that. Sort nodes. Yeah, sort. John's work alias suggests private chat send the test code from Carson to Hannah from Hannah's working code.
Yeah, I'll send it to you again
Carson's.
just to make sure we got the right things in the right place.
Okay. Yeah, I can clear everything out. Daniel Brown says that if Postman releases an iPad app, then they'll try and help. Well, thanks for tuning in from your iPad. I appreciate your enthusiasm. Your moral support is all the help that I need.
Means a lot.
Yeah. Wait. Did you drop that in Slack again?
Hold on. Let me make sure that we're doing the right one. I'm sending the Mendocino.
Yep.
Okay, try this one.
Okay. Oh yes, the wonderful team has reminded us that Postman for the web you can use on your iPad. I actually didn't know that. I haven't tried it on an iPad. I'm currently in Postman Web here. You can see that I have some other fun tabs and Excel and everything up. So yeah, follow along, Daniel Brown. That's awesome. Okay, so I've copied from you the most recent one you sent.
Yeah.
And
So,
that's going to go into test.
yep.
Okay. I'm going to zoom out for half a second. I'm sorry, y'all. I just straight up don't know how to do the two pane. There we go. Okay. I'm going to delete all this and try over.
Yeah. So did you paste in the new code for the tests?
Now I have.
Okay, perfect.
Okay.
Save that. And then see if anything gets saved to your environment variable after you send that.
Okay, let's see here. How do I make sure that I don't play the fun dancing music again? There we go.
We need some different music, interlude music.
Do you sing?
I do not. Do you?
Great. Not anymore. For brackets are empty again still.
Well, let me make sure we're doing the right URL, I guess.
Yeah, which URL are you using?
Might be good. So I just sent you that.
Okay.
And
okay. Okay. Yep. No dice.
still the same.
Still the same.
Okay, we must be off somewhere.
Aha. Sean in Idaho says, "Oh, you went there. You went for that joke. Sounds like Daniel Brown just cracked a Postman code." Yeah, it sounds like he does.
Yep.
All right.
I have another visualization that I made that we could it's a little simpler. Might work.
Yeah. Just like our new motto, keep it simple, silly.
Keep it simple. Let me make sure this one works on my end.
Show us the code, we
Okay.
can help debug. Okay. Well, so that's what I thought we were doing, but then I've already revealed my secrets enough. I'm going to have to change everything for this anyway. So if we are zooming the heck in and doing the two pane deal again, how do I just... We're at the top here. Is this zoomed in enough for y'all? Does this, you're able to see the code well enough? What's the error? The error is that when we're supposed to be saying a environment variable for Mendo that right now is just showing up in current, just brackets for current value and nothing else. And the goal here, I need to practice using Postman this zoomed in. It's
a whole different skill.
Building empathy again. That's the one. How do I just make this prettiest? John's work alias, another empty array or empty object.
I think it's just an empty array. I was Jason parsing it before I sent it in, but what do you have for your base URL?
Up to API.
Okay, yeah, same. Oh, I wonder what param are you using and what b date, because those were environment variables that wouldn't have changed when I sent it to you.
The param that we're looking at is not the one that you were using.
Right. So
there
that
we
might
go.
Be it.
Okay. Ta-da! 42201. Okay. So let's just for a hot second, make that go away. I know that there are like faster ways to do this or whatnot. This is just how my brain is working in this moment. No, what am I doing? Okay. Save. On again. This multitasking part is really hard. So
Okay.
now we have it correct.
Try that.
Okay, what happens if we do that then? Okay. Well,
Go to the body instead of the cookies.
yes.
Okay. Can you check the environment variable and see if anything got saved?
Yeah. Mendo. Yay.
Perfect. Okay, now I can try the Sonoma one, and hopefully that works.
Okay. Save. And so param, double checking. County 97.
Yay!
Hey, look at that. Woo.
Good work.
Thank you. And thank you for everyone chiming in. Okay, there we go. Checking variables. I'm going to like write that on my physical mental checklist as well for these sort of things, making sure everything is correct.
Yeah, next time we'll just share all of our environments and our everything, so we won't have to copy and paste as much.
Yeah, we're learning. We're sure learning, aren't we? Okay, so it is really looking, yeah, like Mendo had it worse for a second. August 29th. Yeah, that was last year. You were saying we could potentially do it year over year. Is that like,
Yeah,
or do we should just change the dates? Like, how do we get more out of this without breaking everything in our short amount of time left?
I know. I was trying to think of the best way to do it. We could either, change the date on these and just compare 2019 to 2019, or we could add in like 2 more requests and 2 more lines to compare all of 2020 and 2019. That might be a lot of work for this, but
Great.
we could try just the 2019s and see if the trends look a little different.
Okay. So 2019. Ooh. With context of my it worked but barely chart, how would I go about getting that with kind of the situation?
So what are your charts in Excel?
I straight up just like took that, API is and just like copied, pasted into this. And so this was just charting out like kind of year over year. Here's what it was in 2017 for August or October.
Mm-hmm. So you could have
go ahead.
I was going to say you could have a different request, for August 2017, August 2018, August 2019, and have all of those as separate, line charts that would accomplish the same thing as you have in Excel. Or you could go through and save each of those data sets like we're doing in this one and kind of have all of the lines overlaid to see them in one place.
Got it. Okay, that's my goal, to make that happen and actually successfully write and publish that potentially as a blog post.
Yeah, that'd be cool.
Yeah. We have a question over here about when does AQI increase? Weather ? Fire ? Wildfire ? Yeah, API. The AQI in California really is correlated with the wildfires. Weather has a huge amount to do with that. So when it's super, super hot, if all of a sudden there's something like a quick lightning rainstorm like we had around this time last year, that set off a bunch of giant fun fires around Labor Day weekend. If there's a lot of wind, then that keeps the fire going. If we're going like all the way back into what variables just like make this all happen, then drought is a huge one. It's going to it's going to be a rough year from what I understand from all the climate scientists here. For other countries, it is also about pollution. And so if you're on your iPhone, for example, like the little weather app, you can see the air quality for the different regions. So when does AQI increase? If we're going to go for a date, I'm not going to take bets and bring that in. Yeah. Okay.
So we've got a little bit of a wonky graph here. I think we need to update the Mendocino dates as well because it's pulling in that 2020 data. So we'll change that to 2019 and run that.
Okay. Okay, so save and send. Okay, cool. And then if I resend this one, what do we got? Aha.
Okay.
Okay.
There's kind of an earlier spike than there was in 2020, it looks like.
Yeah. Yeah. Sonoma County had it really rough for the last few fire seasons. There's a set of hills that kind of box them in from Mendocino County, as well as kind of box them in from the other side from Marin County. That creates this wonderful, beautiful valley that is great for like wine and other fun things like that, but not so great for fire safety. Mm. So it makes sense how they have some more extremes there. And yeah, I don't know, things just get going.
Does traffic increase it from all the exhaust? Or because I was wondering if it would change in, from pre-pandemic to during the pandemic when there's maybe less traffic.
Ooh, interesting. I think the traffic is like negligible enough on that scale for pollution. I am not a climate scientist. Does anyone here have any ideas on if traffic has a huge impact? I'm expecting no. Okay, John's work alias says a cool project would be to build a date and location data set, save to environment, and then use Runner to collect the data based on that, and then a manual call to display all the saved data. Ooh.
That would be cool.
Okay. Can we do that right now? No.
We could. Okay. I think since we are able to get the daily data, retroactively, we wouldn't need a runner. If I'm understanding correctly, we could get all those dates, but maybe he's got something else in mind. But you could definitely kind of like pull in your data, kind of save it locally and add on as you go. If there's maybe different things they collect in different data sets.
Okay. I like it. Well, we're kind of hitting the hour mark here. And it seems like from the general goals, we're might be at a good place to stop. What do you think?
Yeah, sounds good to me.
Okay. John's work alias says the idea was to have one collection call that used different parameter data from the environment. Gotcha.
Yes, I see what you mean now. Yeah, that would be easier than running each of them manually.
Yeah.
That would be the way to go.
I like that. John's work alias, as I mentioned earlier, if you want to find me on the forum, I would love to talk with you more about this too and kind of pick your brain. And Carson's on there.
Yeah, I'd love to talk about it more.
We have a fun question from Daniel Brown. Can a runner automatically collect data every day?
So I think the runner, you could run it and it would update all of your environment variables. So when you run that final one, it would have all the updated data. It's not really like a great long-term storage thing, but it does save data in your environment and update it that way.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Rad. Okay. Well, we normally do community shout outs. So the one that I want to give right now is to Daniel Brown for joining us. John's work alias, I'm determined we're going to be friends someday. Shiva Krishna Chepiala would like to know if we can share the collection details. Yes, we actually have this in the published Postman templates. That's just my like basic one that we started with. And we'll drop that link in a little bit. Carson, do you have any community shout outs?
Not that I could think of, but I loved all the feedback and help on our debugging. It was great to hear everyone's ideas.
Great. I've got one more shout out for Praveen Matthew. He's in Ireland right now, and unfortunately, he was supposed to get a talk that couldn't happen because of all the COVID situation. Big heart and love to everyone in India right now. It's just horrific to watch, and I'm sorry you're living through this. So, for Praveen's family and all of our friends, we're with you. The Get Postman account says, shout out to Carson. She is a supernova and grand prize winner of the Postman API hackathon. Yeah, that is correct. Carson, I heard you and Andrew won a $25,000 hackathon.
Yeah, that was crazy. We just had a lot of fun building a Postman project, and it paid off. So that was definitely the most exciting part of my year. I can't imagine it'll be topped.
Yeah. Do you want to give a 2-sentence TLDR on what it was?
Yeah, so kind of a two-parter. It was called Documentor to help improve your documentation. There's one that's like kind of a Slack bot to measure the documentation or code coverage of all of your documentation in a collection. Gives you a little report card, and then the second part kind of puts in some response and request model documentation right into your Postman docs. So it creates little markdown tables with all of your parameters and descriptions.
God, that's really cool.
It's fun.
Thanks for building that. Yeah. Okay, I'm supposed to play this ending clip, and I'm going to do that, make sure that we're not cutting each other off. So thank you, everyone. This stream happens every Thursday from 11 p.m. a.m. Pacific on. I don't remember what we have next week, but I'm sure it's going to be wonderful. And I know there's some sneak peeks of some fun things coming up too. So thank you, Carson, for joining me and for everyone chiming in. Yeah. Bye.
All right. See you later.